Hello Nigeria, hello Africa, welcome to another interesting edition of Iron Issues coming to you live on Spectrum Television. And of course, you know we're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Today promises to be another interesting topic as we will be focusing on a very critical issue that affects people of particular interest within the entertainment space. Now, since 1962, World Theatre Day has been celebrated by ITI centers cooperating with members, theater professionals, theater organizations, theater universities, and theater lovers all over the world, and is celebrated on the 27th day of March each year. On this day, theater art is celebrated to raise awareness about their importance in entertainment and the changes they bring to society. Additionally, it helps to promote theater in all its forms across the world and make people aware of the importance of theater. Ever since the Greeks, theater has been one of the most popular forms of entertainment. Live performers, actors, and actresses use different forms of the art to present a real experience before an audience in a particular place or on stage. Today, we will be looking at theater as World Theatre Day has been celebrated. Of course, it took place yesterday the world over, and we will be looking at the theater industry and what it has brought to the Nigerian entertainment industry. Now, one of the notable figures that we cannot fail to mention when it comes to theater and their contributions to the entertainment industry in Nigeria happens to be the likes of Olu Jacobs, Joke Silva, and of course, we wouldn't leave out the likes of Kepi Ekpenyong and many more others who have made significant impact on the world of theater. Joining me on set today is a seasoned lecturer and of course theater practitioner of the Department of Theater, University of Uyo, and very right beside me is Mr. Tusi Omana. Welcome to Iron Issues.
My pleasure, Francis. I'm happy.
Good to have you. Also joining us on set is Ekemini Efyong. He's also a lecturer of the University of Uyo, still Department of Theater Arts. Welcome to Iron Issues.
My pleasure. Nice to be here.
All right, so theater, excitement, fun. The world of theater is one beautiful place I enjoy to be in. And I'd like to start with you, Mr. Tusi. Let's talk about the origin of theater. How did it all start?
Well, getting to ask how theater actually started is a relative issue because I can also decide to tell you how theater started in Africa. I may decide to look down on the story, the history that we've come to see the oral literature has given or the written literature has given to us. Because I know, as far as history can lead me well, that my great-great-grandfathers have been involved in theatrical enactment one way and or the other. But if you want to zero in on the convention that we've come to read as we studied theater in our undergraduate days, they say theater started from the Greek. And it's derived from the Greek word theatron, meaning a place of seeing. So I'm talking about the written documents we've come to see. But whether it actually started in Greece and not Egypt or Nigeria or Akwa Ibom State to be specific is a case that we are still building up momentum in terms of research documentations to come to the bear. So theater is actually performance.
Okay, so let's talk performance. I know you're a performing person and you love theater. Let's start from a lighter note. Did you stumble on theater? Did theater discover you, or you discovered theater?
Well, I've also been a theater person. I remember back in the days when I was in the secondary school, we used to have dramatic and debate club. We used to stay together and then put some enactments. I remember far back in JS3, we have done this chance by an ensure. And then we play. So we've always been moving around. In those days in Calabar, we used to move from one school to the other performing. So we've been doing that, and it's been a part of me. When I came to the University of Uyo, I started diploma, so I had to move into, we started Moonlight Theatre, moving around secondary schools to do secondary school text, literature text. So it's been a part of me. That is why immediately I finished diploma, I had joy to move on to the degree, move on to a master's, and then currently I am preparing myself for my PhD, still in the theatre. So I didn't stumble on it. Even if that happened, then what we have, the fruits that encounter had brought forth will not allow me to even remember that I stumbled on it. We've been a part of it together.
Okay, let me come to you, Kemini. I can see you smiling. So let's talk about your own journey in the theater world. How has it been for you?
It has been tedious and it has been very successful at the same time. You know, theater is an applied course and it needs your mind and your concentration. But since it is both theoretical and practical, so it has been up and down, challenges there, up and there, you know, relating, I wouldn't know on what aspect. When I was a student, you know, you needed the demands of being a student, you know, like criticism. You need to study the critical aspect of the theories. You need to read your book so that you can get an excellent grade. Or you want to engage in dance practicals, you want to engage in acting rehearsals or alternate rehearsals. It has been very, very challenging. It needs a focused person, a dedicated person for you to succeed.
Well, indeed, theater is a serious business. And looking at the screen there, you could
Yeah.
have, I think we picked that script from Mr. Tusi's performance.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on, I don't know if you have stumbled on Emeka Nwabweze. Professor Emeka Nwabweze is one of the most renowned professors of theater arts from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. One of the things that is scripted down, which I discovered that it was the material for today, for the moment, is a play that it titles Parliament of Vultures. So right now I am rehearsing it for the University of Production 2023.
Wow, Parliament of Vultures.
Parliament of Vultures.
That's a serious case.
And my colleague too
Yeah,
is also
yes.
building up something for the season.
I'm rehearsing Akpandiebo is a traditional play. It's a traditional, purely traditional. It is a BBO play.
Yes.
Written by Achibong and there are two authors. Okay, so it's typically, in fact, you need to come and see our how our Lagos returnees who are students will speak a BBO. They are forced to speak a BBO, and they are doing it. And in fact, when there was a parent that phoned and congratulated me and said, "You are doing well." That is why I asked him to return to a BBO land, and now you are teaching the BBO. The parent was very happy. So we are doing a good thing, you know. Globally, there is this cultural studies that emphasizes on our mother tongue, that someone who is born to know the mother's tongue would be more intelligent than someone who is learning the foreign one, because it comes with ingenuities and creativity. That is why, you know, it's called a BBO from beginning to the end.
All right, definitely, it's an interesting play already. I can already envisage what is going to happen, and the struggle of people who have not grown up in Akwa Ibom, trying to speak the language for the first time. But the theme for this year's World Theatre Day was theatre and the culture of peace. Now, we know that there is a very clear distinction between when you're performing in a theatre and when you're performing on set. So let's look at the differences. How is it performing on stage and performing on set? And I'm coming to you, Mr. Tusi, because I know you've had experience of both worlds. You've been on stage and you've also been on set.
My colleague too has been on stage. You see, the issue is that of immediacy.
Yeah.
That immediacy. And the life aspect, the living aspect of the stage, where the audience is given the opportunity first class, first hand, to have that encounter without any intervention, without any disruption. You know, if you're talking about the set, you'll be exposed first to technological devices like the camera and so on, where you can have direct encounter with your audience. But on stage, the people you are performing for, you are seeing them right in front of you. And that immediacy brings a kind of cordiality that somebody will look at. So there's been no intervention. If we are doing something on set, we'll go for post-production. We begin to add, subtract, adjust. So what you are really getting is not actually that food that your mother just finished preparing. It must have been put in a frozen state and then tried to preserve. But in the theater, we give you real, the way it is cooked, with the immediacy that is involved. So, and again, the demands of having to perform before a live audience, where you don't have opportunity to correct anything, where you need to be, exactitude is the key word. Proficiency is the key word. You know, if you make a mistake while you are doing something on set, during post-production, all that could be handled. And then what that are not necessary could be deleted. But I mean on stage, imagine you coming on the stage and the place is dark and then light comes on you, bam, and then you are going to give your lines. Welcome to my show. I invited you. And then the people, they feel you. And after the show, they come for a selfie. It could be some memorable experiences.
Okay, I think you're getting me in the mood to act on set right now. But let's look at the importance of theater to the entertainment industry. Now, a lot of persons have said if we had not had theater, we probably would not have had the quality of veterans that we have in the Nollywood industry. Do you agree with this standpoint?
Well, you see, theater is the melting pot of all arts. In fact, for one to say theater is a part of entertainment is an understatement. Theater is entertainment. The bulk of it. If you watch, even like we're talking about film now, if you watch the film, you see a character and you say, oh, this character had passed through the rudiments of theatrical enactment on stage. When he gets to say, there are some character portrayal you're going to see, some indices that will make you so endeared to the act. So we are the major contributor. In terms, is it in terms of scripts? Is it in terms of embellishment like costume, makeup, light, sound, scenery? Or is it the manpower, the actors? No, we put people who can, for instance, you know, the demands of somebody who has acted on the stage can comfortably move into the set, and then 1 or 2, 3 promptings, it picks up. But the reverse cannot be the same so easily. Because if you are coming on stage, certain actors' vocal tools like projection, modulation, articulation, and enunciation, they will come to play. Whereas if you are doing on set, the camera is there to enhance for you. They do everything, almost everything for you. So it's just the ingenuity of trying to modulate, trying to introduce melody and rhythm into your rendition. But if it's going to be on stage, actions must be embedded into the presentation. That is why it's performative.
Okay, now I'm probably being schooled a lot more as far as theater is concerned. And in case you just joined us, this is Eye on Issues, coming to you live on Spectrum Television. I have with me on set Mr. Tusi Umano, is a lecturer and theater practitioner, and of course, Kemini Efion was also a lecturer and theater practitioner, both of them of the University of Uyo. And we're talking about World Theater Day that was celebrated yesterday, of course. We're looking at theater in Nigeria and its impact on the entertainment industry. Now, part of the reasons that people go to school is to get an education, get a degree, and also get a job. Now, I recall as an O-level student telling my family I wanted to study theater.
Okay.
And I understand the drama that unfolded after that. What are you going to do with the certificates? Where are you going to work?
Okay.
Is it profitable? And all of those questions. So let me come to you, Mr. Ekemini.
Yeah.
Is theater a profitable venture in Nigeria, as we said?
Theater is both profitable and very lucrative, just like what you are doing now, anchoring. I was told that you were schooled in theater, that he schooled you, you know, he's your lecturer.
Okay, so, now
so,
the cat has been let out of the bag.
So I'm being practical now. So as an anchor, okay, so you can be employed as an anchor. You can be a floor manager. You know, you can be an actor. Okay, you can be a dancer. Okay, let me mention Inedo. Okay, is everywhere. She is everywhere. Okay, as a good theater artist, you can be a pastor. We have them. You mentioned one of them. You know, there's practically nothing you cannot do. Okay, as a theater artist, I'm a lecturer now. Okay, you want to go outside there. I have a friend of mine who was my classmate. He's in Union Bank. Okay, handling the loan aspect, car loan, house loan. There's practically no way a theater artist wouldn't function. Just like I said, it's a melting point of art. I would say it's a melting point of art and sciences. Just like, but myself, I'm a technical theater teacher.
Okay. Let me get to understand what it means. What does it mean to be a technical theater?
Okay, technical theater is where we teach design arts. He had mentioned costume. Okay. He had mentioned makeup. He had mentioned scene design. He had mentioned lighting and sound. Those are the core technical areas that I take my children on. Just like we are trying to do now, this clip, this microphone, okay, what the guy is doing, the editing, we teach all those things. The lighting, the rigging, angles, you know, we teach all those things. So the science is there. If you do not know mathematics, okay, you cannot offer that angle. Okay, in theater.
Now you're striking a chord that is oftentimes neglected when it comes to going to school or seeking for admission.
Yeah.
And I know, in as much as university will always say you should have 5 credits, including math and English. When it comes to the arts, math is not always an emphasis for most universities.
Yeah. In those days.
It's very compulsory now.
In those days, it didn't used to be. So how do people who didn't fare well in mathematics fare in the theater department?
Yeah, because this one is optional. Though from year 2, you'll be taught introduction to design arts. Okay, they are being taught though at a periphery. But when you get to your final year, you stress. There's a difference between specialization and stress.
Okay, so
at their undergraduate level, we call it an area of stress. They have about 13 areas to stress. So in that area right now, I have only 2 students who major in that. Okay. But if you go to other ones that wouldn't demand mathematics, you have more of them because they are trying to run away from mathematics. So what I'm trying to say is, as a theater artist, a devoted theater artist, you can write scripts and get money. You can write, you know, public speakings. You can edit and get money. Like diction, presentations, you know, knowing how to modulate, just like I said, you modulate, you articulate, you speak English, the way English should be spoken. You can enjoy your money from there.
So what if you speak English the way English shouldn't be spoken?
No, we have Englishes, okay? But, you know, if the need of the person that employs you needs English, the way English should be spoken, why don't you give it to the person and get your pay?
Definitely.
Okay.
All right. So that's an interesting, very interesting choice. But let's look at another key indices that comes to the fore when it comes to theater. Now, we're all aware the Nigerian universities and the factors of going for certification. Mr. Tusi has said theater is practical, it's purely practical. And I am aware that as far as theater is concerned, test is practical, assignments are practical, exams are practical. So why is the curriculum designed in such a way to ensure practically every student gets involved in practical?
It is designed like that, you know, Nigerian University Commission, NUC, you know, they are learned people. You know, by right, a university, okay, what is happening now, it is 50-50, okay, though the practical seems to overwhelm because of the time allocated to it, because of the, you know, the precision you want to attain. You know, it is believed that through rehearsals, you get to perfection. That is the belief. Just like I said, there's no avenue for editing. What you give is what we take. So there's no room for mistake. That's why we run rehearsals for weeks, you know, to attain that perfection. So it is designed in such a way, it's not purely practical. It is 50-50. That is why examination, you sit and write using pen. Okay, everything you did on stage, sometimes maybe 50%, 40%. You tell us how you did it theoretically, then we grade you from there. You must balance, you must strike a balance. So it's not 80% practical, but it's 50-50, sometimes 60-40. The practical can be 40 and the theory must be 60 for you to be lettered. Since it is a universal practice, you know, it's a university. From that universality globally. So what is happening in London, we do it here. So that if this person travels to London, can easily acclimatize, align with those people. So it's not strictly practical. Why it is like that, you know, the practical angle is effervescent, it's bubbling, it's bright, it is something that is sizzling. So captures attention. For instance, you have a beautiful dancer here trying to do it. If I'm sitting here to write, we'll be attracted to the beautiful dancer because it is real. It's, you know, the same thing. But I can just be describing how the person is dancing. It will now capture your attention. That is why it seems it is purely practical, but it is more 50-50 to strike a balance in accordance with NUC regulations.
All right. Now, you've listed a lot of things, and when you talked about the technical aspect, you mentioned a couple of departments. But let me come to you, Mr. Tusi. We know that in the theater art department, there are different fields, there are different departments. So let's look at those different departments and the opportunities around them.
Well, the opportunities abound in theater. In fact, when my colleague was talking about how profiteering the theater is very profiteering, especially in a time like this. So when we come to the theater, for instance, we have an area directing, we have playwriting, we have creative dramatics, we have theater for development, also known as community theater, and then we move on there. You have costumes, you have lighting, you have scene design, you also have choreography, you have criticism, literature, and criticism, you have dramatic literature and criticism, you have all of this
theater management.
Then we have theater management, we have theater entrepreneurship, we have theater anthropology. So it's so open.
Too broad.
It's so open that when you are trained in the theater, you are trained in the whole of life, because to us, theater is life. Okay. So the training is to prepare you for life.
Okay, you've mentioned theater entrepreneurship, you've mentioned theater anthropology, and of course theater management. So let's dig deeper into entrepreneurship, theater entrepreneurship, because I'd like to know, how do people who graduate from the theater industry get to make money, whether or not they get employed?
No, you see, we are not just people preparing ourselves for employment. We generate employment. Now let's take a look at it now. What you're doing right here are the things that we are well schooled in. Art of presentation, the boldness to face camera, face the crowd, and then release what you have. There are the rudiments that we've been embedded, that we've been schooled with. Now we talk about, I'm also telling you that you came here, you have a guide. And that's your script. We are also taught, exposed to the rudiment of scripting. We don't only script for the stage or for the film, we also script speeches. We script a whole lot of things. And in a television station, for instance, a lot of programming, we need script. And then we're talking about, like now, my department is the Department of Theater and Film Studies. So all like our friends here who are behind the cameras, these are all the things we are exposed to. And then we also talk about this theater for development. It's a very lucrative course. What do we mean by theater for development? It's when you are using theater to solve the problems in the society. When you get, it's a theater of the people, by the people, and for the people. You come to a particular place. For instance, we were traveling to this place, and then we saw some things that we feel attention should be drawn to. So we bring a theater experience here to Uran. If you have, I don't know this side of Uran, for instance. And when we come here, we now let the people to be part of the enactment. The script conferencing, we get the people involved. So we look at it, let the people see what they should do on their own, and not just total expectation from outside. So it's more or less, it will bring up a communal response to what we are doing. And then you talk about creative dramatics, that's children theater, where theater is being used to teach. Theater is not only used, it's not being taught. It can also be used to teach other courses in the primary and the secondary school level. So sincerely speaking, there are so many things. Are you talking about the lighting that we're talking about? The expert, somebody will understand the angle to put the lights for you, so that as we are speaking now, people will say, wow, Spectrum, what a great place. So if you get it wrong at the lighting point, you would have given a wrong impression about the image of Spectrum. So these are the things that we are exposed to. So if all of this could be put inside of you, the day you step out of school, you won't even wait to step out of school, because I know myself, Omana Sunday, from when I was in school, I've been going out doing productions, getting money. Is business. I tell my students, I say, theater is business, because ultimately we want to go out. How can I carry a file and begin to go and say I'm looking for employment, and how much are you going to pay me? Whereas one consultancy or one involvement can give you the money for 2, 3, 4 months. That somebody is dressed in the morning 8 a.m. and goes out and returns 7 p.m. So it's very lucrative. It's because it's multifunctional. There are so many things. He mentioned 13, I can tell 13 times 3.
All right, so if there is anything that Mr. Tusi has said just now that got my attention, is the fact that theater is of the people, for the people, and by the people, and we recreate the real life experiences around the people. I particularly would look forward to recreating the Biakuran Road in a theatrical performance, so that the people that matches would see, and maybe that way they'll get to understand what we face in this part of the world, and possibly
because these instructions are being coded with fun, entertainment. So somebody is coming to watch a show, and inside the show, we have opened the show, the spine of the show, and buried the need of the society. So as you are enjoying the show, almost immediately, you come face to face with the real problem that needs your attention. That's theater for development, TFD.
All right. Very interesting to know that theater can be used for development. And yes, if you just join us, this is Iron Issues. We're going on a short break. When we come back, we will be looking at theater in Akwa Ibom State, and of course, narrow it down to the activities of theater students in the University of Uyo and how that is impacting on their lives and, of course, the lives of the Akwa Ibom people. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us, and this is Eye on Issue, coming to you live on Spectrum Television. Of course, it's a special edition to talk about theater and its contributions to the development. Just before we went on that short break, my guest Tusi Omana of the Department of Theater Art, University of Uyo, and Ekemini Fiong, also of the University of Uyo Department of Theater Art, have said a lot about the different talents present in the theater art department. They have described it as what I would call, or paraphrase as, the mother of entertainment, because theater encompasses all of the talents that you find in the creative industry, from the dance to the music to the stage work to the set work to all other things that you find. And without those things coming together to form a complete whole, we wouldn't be having perfect pictures on our screens to enjoy in terms of films and other performances. But as part of continuing the show, we'll be talking more, narrowing it down to theater art and performances in Akwa Ibom State. Now, Mr. Tusi, I know Akwa Ibom State is one state that is blessed with a lot of talent. So let's talk about development theater. How is the Department of Theater in the University of Uyo using the tools available to theater to develop Akwa Ibom State?
Well, let me start by saying that the Department of Theater and Film Studies, University of Uyo, the department has been at the forefront, generating and regenerating, inventing and reinventing talents for all facets of lives in the state. This spectrum here, is it all the stations that you can mention? Is it the print? Is it the electronic media houses? If you go, by the time you enter into any of the media houses, you discover that you have theater persons at different points and or the other. Now you go into theater outfits. You go to Ministry of Culture and Tourism. You go to Council for Art and Culture. You go to National Council for Art and Culture. These are the outlets that people who are trained theater practitioners are entered into to move the economic, to regenerate the economic viability of a society. For Kwara State, you want to look at it, there are great men from the state to the stage who have acted at one moment and or the other. Last year, for instance, my friend and colleague, consultee, during the Akwa Ibom anniversary, put up a command performance, Utonika, marvelous work on stage. That has happened. Another other time we had Ega came in here with Ibium, Windows Fly. Great works. I mean, works that when you sit like this, you feel, you can feel you have the hope to be alive. That's what theater is all about. So we have been churning out talent, and I'm also very happy in the state. For instance, we have some units where this talent matter. For instance, we have a portfolio for entertainment, and a man is put there to manage as SA on entertainment. We also create a unit for talent development, and then there's somebody managing it. We also have, then we have a solution. So we now come here and we have on tourism, or you have my boss in Edo who is driving it. So you discover that the outlets are already very viable. So, and the department of theater, for instance, today, if you go to the Department of Performing Arts, Akwa Ibom State University, 60-70% of the instructors or the lecturers of people handling things and making things happen are proud product of the Department of Theater at University of Rio. If you go now to even you go to the government house, most of the great information officers you can mention, is it to the governor, is it to the head of service, they are people produced by the Department of Theater Arts. We wouldn't want to mention names, but these are great people who have been tutored on the act of building confidence to face the storm. So we have been doing that, emptying the people to make sure that they do what the society will be proud of in terms of development.
Also, to add to that, on Theatre for Development, which is an adjunct of community theatre, we train in year 3. There's a course we call community theatre. So how we contribute to our society or the community is that we send these students to go and do feasibility study and know the lifestyle, whatever they do there. If what they do is harmful to the environment, we can coin a drama surrounding, for instance, burning of bushes or felling of trees, greenhouse emission. So we train them on the culture of planting more trees, not falling of these trees, like gully erosion. If they remove sand from where they shouldn't remove, or salting of water, the reddish substance close to a stream that they drink, all these things are not healthy for the body. So we can coin a drama surrounding that. We meet with the chief of the community or the traditional rulers or people that matter. Then they will just call the villagers, like he had said, we integrate the villagers in that production, so they will see the harmful effect of doing those things. Then they can change. For instance, when I was in year 3, I'm a graduate of that department. When I was in year 3, we went to Intarian. We discovered that they were felling trees and the place was getting hotter. So we came back and planned, what should we do to make them, refrain from all these things. So we drafted a drama that surrounded it, and we went there. And when we got there after 6 months to 1 year, they had changed. They greeted us. In fact, we were presented with a gift that they did not know. So those are the ways we had contributed impactfully to the climate, which is the world most troubling thing right now.
Now, for us to be able to put up the kind of plays that you're talking about, it requires funding.
Yes.
It requires support. It requires collaboration. So, Mr. Tusi, let's talk about funding. How have you been able to search for funding and get collaboration for the events and the things that you do?
From two perspectives, if you're talking about theater for development, it's not a kind of theater that you need to spend money on. It's a kind of theater that we just pick up because it is issue-based. So there are no formal settings like coming to build a set, going to bring lights. No, as we're sitting the way we are, because it's the issue that we want people to see it the way it is, not the way it is blended or embellished. But if you come to the production, a conventional production situation like we have, your season of production, every year in my department we set up two weeks aside performances every day. Like next month we are going to have one, and we're going to showcase almost 16 performances. Some of those clips you saw that I got involved, I'm actually handling too. Emeka Nwabwe is a parliament of vultures and also taking the Tuesday Bansika Ambassi. So my colleague is doing a Bandi robot, another person is doing an adaptation. Mr. Thompson, my friend, is doing an adaptation of Showing Cars Dead and the King's Horseman, Elation. So such things are going on. We also have Son of the Gods by Wendy Montagbo. So we're going to have even the productions by student directors that are coming up. And for this year, a very special thing is going to happen because our sister university, Niger Delta University, will be sending a performance to feature in this year's season of production. So when we do this, we talk to our ex-students, we talk to our theater enthusiasts, we talk to friends, we meet people to see how we can draw support, because the theater in a conventional state is a very expensive thing. So we get support from individuals, some lecturers also get involved, and because this thing is also an examination, so all of us are involved to make sure that we put an experiment that people will be proud of and that will befit the status of a university.
Okay, let's talk about a little bit about Parliament of Vulture. I'm intrigued about the name Parliament of Vulture. What is it about?
No, it's actually a political play. I chose the play because I discovered that when I picked the play, I didn't even see the scenario in the just concluded elections that will come up. What is happening is that Emeka Nwabwe is seeing the parliamentarians who sit down to share money, who sit down to appropriate money to themselves, instead of sending the money out to take care of the issues that they originally meant for, as vultures who consume what belongs to the people. And then when they amass this wealth, then it now shows us the frivolities involved, the ways of spending this money. You now pick money that belongs to a community, and all of a sudden when you want to go and spend it, you go to one maybe a birthday party of a young lady, and then you give out the kind of money that could repair the road, like the one we had to suffer to get to this place. So that is what it's actually a satire. He's just trying to lampoon the people in power, but he focuses attention on parliamentarians who are supposed to be, because that is where we have representation from. For instance, if it's House of Assembly, you have in all the state constituencies. So everybody should be able to speak for his own people, for his own constituents. But where you now go in and wear the costume of an individual, abandoning the cause of the community, that is what Emeka Nwabwe is throwing very hard knocks on. And I like the way he is putting it. He didn't allow the perpetrators to go free.
Okay, yes. so there is a punishment at the end of it.
At the end of the day,
okay.
We are going to do so. And then because Tusi is involved, we always try to dismantle script and then bring it. We want to make it to be suitable to the environment we live. So we've done a lot of things inside that will interest you and every other person listening to us to come to watch on the Model Theatre Studio Department of Theatres University. I will keep you posted with the date. It's going to be 14 days of production. The theme is African art, portraiture of African art. So for 14 days, every day a production, either is film, dance, drama, film, dance, drama. It's going to be an exciting moment.
Wow, I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. But let me come to you, Mr. Kevini. You're currently working on a Pandi robot, and it's interesting. A Pandi robot. I'm trying to see how we can translate that into English. It's my first time coming to the world. So let's get to hear about that.
First timer in the world. Okay. We are all, for those of us who do not believe in reincarnation. So a Pandiable is simply a man who was born into the earth and he lost his parents at tender age, but he was doing well. He had calamity that took him to the grave. But he had 4 children. that is a drama to tell you that despite your father is normal, despite the challenges of life, you can become anything in life, because that the son become a barrister, the daughter was well to do, okay, very influential, that they attracted the governor to the town, and which the governor they feast, they had to to dine with the governor, despite that the father left them at their tender age. It's a challenge to our young people that no matter challenge you face in life, you can go to school, pay your school fee, and make it in life.
Okay, let's wrap this conversation up by talking a little bit more about the World Theatre Day.
Well, March 27 is the day set aside by International Theatre Institute, an arm of UNESCO, for theatre to be celebrated all over the world. And in Nigeria, for instance, National Association of Nigerian Theatre Art Practitioners, NANTA, has always been in the forefront celebrating this very wonderful day. So yesterday, different communities, different schools, different colleges, different practitioners gathered differently to do one thing and or the other to project the image of theatre. Don't forget, the theme this year has been the culture of peace. So for instance, for Mana Sunday, who is always very passionate, looking forward to March 27. So yesterday, I converged my students and we were raising all through. We rehearsed some of the clips you have seen at the rehearsals that we did to commemorate World Theatre Day on the 2023 edition. So it's always been a beautiful moment in the universities. We do observe that. National non-tobacco, we used to observe that. So it's something that is a day set aside to call attention to theatre parties. And I'm thinking that for UNESCO to be involved in this kind of creation, they must have seen sufficiently convinced too that theatre is at the center of human existence.
Okay, let's wrap up this conversation. Where do you see theatre going in the face of emerging trends? And I'm talking emerging trends in terms of, now we're talking about skit makers, we're talking about the internet taking over. So how do you see the theatre practitioners fitting into the emerging trends?
These things you have mentioned, they are still part of theatre. Now what we have now is theatre in motion. It's a mobile theatre. However you want to look at it, the skit makers, they are theatre people.
Content.
So what we are now doing, instead of, since we are not very comfortable coming to a particular place, maybe for one reason and or the other, to watch the thing, we take it to you. It's a mobile theatre. So it's not as if it's a different thing altogether. No, it's not a different thing altogether. It's something that we are a part of. In fact, go and check. Most of these content developers are actually stage marshals. People who have been duly schooled in the act and rudiment of theatrical performances.
Okay, I think that's how far we can go. But before I let you go, your word of advice to theatre students and, of course, the government and people who are lovers and enthusiasts of theatre arts.
My word of advice to my students is they should be serious about their studies and take in whatever the lecturers give to them, and they'll be proud of it at the end. For the government, we beg they should allow the money assigned for theatre to come and reach the theatre so that we can use it for development. For other sponsors, please, we need your help. Come and help us, and you will see that we will make so much money and our children will be gainfully employed. After all, the film industry is the second employer of labor in Nigeria right now, after the federal government. God bless you all.
Okay, your parting words.
Well, I want to tell my students, let's see theatre as business. Shakespeare would say, the more pity, fools may not speak wisely, what wise men do foolishly. No matter how wise you are, the day you do something foolish, even the greatest fool will know that you have done something foolish. So be wise.
All right, so be wise. That's a very nice rhyme there. And what a way to wrap up our conversation today on Eyes and Issues. Well, we've been talking about theatre and the world of theatre in Nigeria. My name is Francis Eded, and I'm wishing you a lovely evening. And of course, stay tuned to the rest of our programming live on Spectrum Television. God bless you. Do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.